Hello YouTube, I'm currently 8 generations in my forever save, and I do the Such Colorful Lives Legacy Challenge for that save, and I thought I would get into the lore of each generation. We're going to start with the first sim, Lexie Sanderson, and that was her final name. She had 3 different last names because she got married 3 times, so I don't even remember what her first name was because again, it's been 8 generations. So I'm going to share you guys some pictures and some lore. So this is Miss Lexie with her first wedding. She looked absolutely beautiful. However, she did not start off married. She started off as new to the scene in San Majuno. She was an art lover with a bit of a mean streak, who was ready to join the art critic career and start painting masterpieces and make a name for herself. She eventually did end up becoming a big celebrity, famous on social media, and after she topped the art critic career, she even got into writing and became a best-selling author too. She was just that determined to make a legacy and a name for herself. She painted beautiful masterpieces. Some of them even got passed down as heirlooms to future generations to come. Now, Lexie started off in one of the starter apartments because, she didn't have too many simoleons, but she did have a big dream of moving into one of the penthouses in San Majuno one day. So she's new to the scene, new to the art critic career, trying to work her way up as fast as possible, climb the corporate ladder, right? And she was a very classy sim. She was wanting to wait till marriage. She wanted to find a special somebody and wait till marriage, okay? But she needed some simoleons. So she ends up one day running into Jeffrey Landgrab, as we all do. And obviously we know the Landgrabs are loaded. So what did she do? She ends up becoming Jeffrey Landgrab's sugar baby. But remember, our sim Lexie is waiting till marriage to give up the goods. So what does she do? She ends up becoming Jeffrey's dom. So she just, financially drains him and does other things with Jeffrey, and he is very much into that, spending, his wife's land grab coins. And she keeps this going. She keeps a good chunk of change from him, puts it in her savings, but eventually she meets her coworker, Diego. Diego is one of the townies. However, we did give him a little makeover. So this is what he was looking like when our sim was dating him. And they had a very fast romance, kind of love bombing, very intense and passionate. And once she met Diego and it got a little more serious, she did end up with Jeffrey because she wanted to be loyal to Diego. She fell head over heels for him. And I will say, even though she does go on eventually to get married 2 other times, she was always head over heels for Diego. And a little part of her always wanted to get back with him, but eventually they just became too toxic. So they start dating. This is a picture of them from Love Fest. Eventually they move in together. He brings his simoleons and they're saving up a big chunk of change. Her dreams are coming closer than she ever could have realized. He ends up proposing to her one day on one of their dates. And again, they did move kind of quick. She did want to wait till marriage. So this whole thing was moving on kind of quick. They get, engaged, and pretty soon after they get married, which was that first picture that you saw. They spend the holidays together. Everything is going good in their relationship, but eventually things do take a turn. Diego was also had a couple love interests before he started dating Lexie seriously, and he had to end those once he started dating Lexie. But Diego, was not who he convinced Lexie that he was. While everything was fine at the start, once they started having kids, things kind of took a turn for the worse, and the relationship went from nice, passionate, and steamy to unpredictable. So they get married. She looks gorgeous on their wedding day. She's still living in her beginner apartment. They're both in the art critic career. Lexie is going up the career super quickly. She's painting a bunch of masterpieces. She's pretty hot on the scene. Eventually, though, they do decide to have a kid, but that's only after she finally gets her dream penthouse. She is so happy to move into this dream penthouse, and her and Diego end up having 2 kids, a boy and a girl. The boy is actually the heir, but we will get into their kids in just a second. She's in her dream penthouse. She thinks she has everything she wants. Every weekend, her and Diego go on a little vacation because they have both make good money. Both are respected artists on the scene, paint many masterpieces. They have their first son and they're very happy together. However, once they start having kids, they start butting heads a little bit. Remember, Lexie does have a bit of a mean streak, and Diego is a kind of an unpredictable sim. So their romance becomes unpredictable. They fight, then they instantly start flirting with each other again. They make up, but things start to escalate, okay? Diego threatens to break up with Lexie and divorce her many times. But things took a turn for the worst one time when they were on holiday and their baby girl was actually an infant at this point. And their son was already child age. So Lexie and Diego did have a pretty long relationship, even though it was a bit toxic. And they're definitely toxic for each other. So remember, like I said, they always would go on holiday, on vacation every single weekend. That was one of their things. They would rent a vacation rental. Eventually, when they had kids, they would go and take their kids. At this point, their oldest is freshly into his child phase, and they have an infant named Katie. Honestly, I don't remember what the oldest son's name is. I'm gonna have to look that up, but we will remember because he's our next gen. Anyways, so they have their 2 kids, they're on holiday, and they had already kind of had this tumultuous arguments and stuff before going on holiday, and they thought that they, would kind of make up on their vacation. But Diego was very mean to her, was threatening to break up, and while Lexie was satisfied with the relationship, he was saying that he was not satisfied, even though, Lexie kind of went through 2 pregnancies and was doing everything in her power to satisfy Diego. Diego was not satisfied. And this is also to note, remember how I said Diego had other little relationships before Lexie? So Diego, while he did not cheat on Lexie physically, there were many instances where he flirted with a lot of other sims, which obviously is not cool in Lexie's book. And she's growing with fame. She does not want to, have the bad press that her husband is out here flirting with other sims. And like I said, on this holiday, once their kids are older, they've already been a couple of years together. They're married. She's established. She's got a penthouse. She's almost at the top of the art critic career. She's like a B-level celebrity at this point. She has so many masterpieces that she's painted and sold to art galleries. She is established. She does not want anything to tarnish her name. But things take a turn for the worse in this holiday because their arguments beef up into something physical. And that's all we got time for today in this part 1 video. Thank you for watching. We are gonna probably need 2 parts for Lexie. Each generation has different lore, but yeah, thank you for watching. If you're interested in this lore, drop a comment down below. What's your favorite part and what you think happens between Lexie and Diego that eventually leads to the breakup and cops being involved.